that is the one step that we didn't get. And I'm so happy because the only thing that mattered was that we left the hospital with our baby and we got that, and we're so fucking lucky for that. But
I'm so sorry to do this. We do have to pause to do a Skims ad. I know the timing is weird, but
Skims.
No.
Right now, Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. Listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com/Trash Tuesday to get $30 off plus free shipping on their best-selling frame. That's auraframes.com/Trash Tuesday. Use code Trash Tuesday at checkout to save. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, Dave.
Hey guys.
Thank you so much for being here.
Am I here? I'm not even sure what's happening.
This is so exciting for me.
Really?
I can't believe we're doing this early on.
Yeah.
I know, Esther, like the dreaded question, how is the giners?
Oh my God, Khalyla.
That's what this
opening
podcast is?
I am officially 3 weeks postpartum. I was ready, by the way, to record a birth story episode with you literally 12 hours after I gave birth. I mean, I wasn't, but like I was excited. I was so ready. What happened was the night we went to the hospital, I only know this because I was filming myself, and it was before I had gotten on any of the drugs that they give you. And I was like, I feel high, but I haven't taken anything. And I think I'm just high off of attention from nurses.
That was part of it, but you were also just so excited to finally give birth and to meet the baby and to get it out of you.
Yeah. Wait, what's the text? Do you want to?
Can we, while you're looking that up, just establish for child services purposes that our baby is here and she's doing fine and she's like just off camera and we're keeping an eye on her?
Yes. If you see us looking over.
And the lights are the opposite direction from her. She's shielded from the lights.
She just ate and she's fine.
Hiccuping.
She's hiccuping
which
currently.
is she's actually very chill hiccuper. I can't believe I'm on this show talking about my own baby.
I can't
me
believe.
neither.
Can I be honest? You guys both seem like the two chillest.
I think we're like,
very sweet.
It's very stimulating to be out of the house and then also to be here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm sure for Dave too, because he's never been here and done this.
There's a lot of weird things happening. Not the least of which is monetizing the story of the birth of our child.
We're not monetizing it. We've had this conversation. So I did not know this would happen until after I gave birth. I am so newly obsessed, obviously, with birth stories. And so I am just like this. I am so excited to share and talk about it because I've had so many people on Instagram asking me like, what happened? How? And I haven't like fully answered it at all. And so I'm like, I want to get it all out clearly in one podcast. Look, maybe there'll be some
podcast.
And also I just had a follow-up with my doctor, and she was like, because you take like this little survey like to see if you have postpartum depression symptoms or whatever, and she was like, you are clearly doing great. And I was like, yeah, I'm like kind of in shock. And I asked her, is the other shoe gonna drop? Like and she said, I see this a lot in my patients. Some people have really bad anxiety and depression during pregnancy, and that's a really good sign that they're not going to have postpartum depression.
Really?
Yes.
That might be anecdotal. I don't know if there's actual evidence to support
She said
that,
she
just
sees
as a caveat. But
my doctor, legal doctor,
she said she sees this a lot.
In
That's
her-
different than saying like.
that's what I
there's-
said.
I know. I'm just saying that is anecdotal.
In Dave's
and
defense, it is anecdotal.
Yeah.
There's no like literature saying if you're sad during pregnancy, you'll be happy after.
Right.
And it's all over.
Well, I didn't write it in a
That's
book.
the baby's
Oh, hi,
fine.
babes. She's up. We didn't make it very far at all. You were very scared of pushing.
I was terrified of giving birth. I think I thought about that once a day throughout the day while pregnant. Okay, what's the text?
The text is this, and I swear, this is just the most you text ever. You'll never believe this, but I absolutely loved having a catheter in and not feeling my legs. It was my lazy girl's dream.
The catheter was a highlight. I also started peeing in a bedpan like right away. Can we like get into the birth story?
Yes.
And Dave is off camera now because he's holding our beloved baby. So he has a mic though, so he's gonna comment. He's fully participating, just off camera. So the first thing I want to say is that the most important thing about this story that matters the most is that like I got to leave the hospital with a healthy baby,
Right.
and that is what kept me like soothed. And so that's like my headline is like, I'm so lucky, I'm so grateful, but everything did not go the way I thought it would. And let me just say, especially to the pregnant girlies who are still pregnant, like that last week, it was almost like we ended that episode. I got in my car and it was like my life went downhill for 5 days. It was so bad. My anxiety, everything I've ever been anxious about in my life spiked. Every discomfort spiked. Every just acknowledging there was that last week of pregnancy, even though I wouldn't go back to the first trimester. I wouldn't trade that because that's the hardest, but that last week was just physical pain, mental. I was so low. Obviously, like everything, my opinion of all of this changed because I'm literally 4 hours after giving birth. I looked at Dave. I was like, we'll have another one.
I knew it.
Did you really?
I knew it.
Those conversations have been happening.
No, it
I'm a
wasn't-
traitor.
Which is why, this is the craziest thing ever, because even up until like right around push time, she was like, one and done. This is one and done. I'm never doing this again.
I've completely betrayed myself. And I have all these notes too that I made sure to make, like, you're miserable pregnant, don't ever do this again. And I've looked at them and I'm like, I'm not even looking at these. Fuck that girl.
I don't know who that person is.
Fuck her. And then the last week was just terror, right, Dave? It was.
Yeah, how was that for you, Dave?
I mean, I just felt awful because there wasn't much I could do other than just like, some like whatever, helping you stretch and stuff. But you couldn't
pulling my legs.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Esther just kept going like, just pull my legs, like stretch my hip socket out, basically, right?
pull
You
my
just
leg.
feel so compressed in that area.
Yes.
So
So
you wanted
compressed.
just to be extended out this
Yeah.
way.
Yes. I didn't want to. I just wanted someone to pull my legs. Anyways, miserable last week. Friday comes around. The day is so gloomy mentally that we were like, let's just go early.
Yeah.
I cannot stress enough, like, this is such a hard decision to make. There are so many options, and I'm not telling anyone to do what I did. Like, also, everyone's so different. Like, literally you and my sister are like terrified of a C-section. You guys are like, I don't want that. Me, I was like, most of my pregnancy, that's what I was leaning towards and what I wanted. I didn't end up doing it, but like, that's not scary to me.
Right.
Not scary at all. For me, pushing was scary to me. It ended up being not scary. Okay. We go there. Dave, you'll help me with this part.
Yeah.
We get there to the hospital early. The induction was Friday night at 9. So basically with the induction, they started with this tablet called a misoprostol.
Yeah, that's the
Is that the abortion
it's the
pill?
abortion pill.
That's what I thought. I was like, are they making
those
a mistake?
cramps are mighty, mighty, mighty.
Yeah, so it's called Cytotec or
Cytotec,
misoprostol.
yeah.
They call it the nurses were calling it miso. And
Different kind of miso.
that's really weird. That's the abortion pill, whatever. So that's like the first step for my induction. It says it like softens the cervix, whatever.
Mhm.
As right when I started taking it, the contractions instantly, very painful, frequent. I was struggling, and I got the sense, and especially now from like hearing other people's birth stories, that's not the norm. Most people take the misoprostol. They don't need any pain intervention. They're fine. But for me, like right away, I was like, I need something for the pain. And I was like, I need my first dose of fentanyl right now. They're like,
Yeah.
whoa. Most people don't get it this early.
She's a drug seeker, guys.
Most people don't need it this early. I'm like, what do? They're like, they walk around. I'm like, what?
In what world did we think that you could
Walk
just
it off?
walk off contractions?
Yeah. So I'm like, no, let's get it going. They give me the dose of fentanyl. At first, you're like really dizzy. And then immediately I'm like very soothed. I'll say it. I was high for the first time in like 10, 11 months. And it was wonderful, even though I could still kind of feel the pain. And so then it faded pretty quickly.
How many times do you have to take the miso?
I think I don't think they have a number of times. I think you just keep taking it.
You took it every 4 hours.
Okay.
And basically until you go into, active labor, I think, or until your water breaks. So you took it at 9 p.m., 1 a.m., 5 a.m., 9 a.m.
You're amazing for keeping record of all of this, by the way.
Notes.
Do you know that I've seen TikToks of partners bringing in their Xbox to the hospital room? And it always really, really makes me sad that they're just not participating in their partner's like pain process. And so like kudos to you. That's amazing.
But also I understand. I had guilt. I was like, this is so probably boring and long for Dave. Like, and I did feel bad for you because for me, at least I'm in like the exciting star role. And you're like.
You are the star of the show.
Oh yeah. Were you saying? Something about you've like. Oh, you felt like you were in the movie and I was just watching it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I said that towards the end of pregnancy
Not
too.
an uncommon theme in our relationship, I would say. Which I'm happy with. I'd rather be watching than starring, thank you. Can I just add, by the way, that so you got your first fentanyl thing. Fentanyl or fentanyl?
Fentanyl with a Y at the end.
Fentanyl. Okay. So I went out into the hallway at this point because I was like, this does seem early. Like the nurse really seemed reluctant to give it to you. And I went to like walk the halls and go to the bathroom or something. And I saw the nurse who was attending to you. And I was like, how's she doing? And the nurse was like, she's okay, And I was like, how unusual is this to ask for to get your first dose of fentanyl after the first miso? And she was like, it's the first time I've ever seen it. And I was like, okay.
That's not what you say.
I'm so glad I didn't know that because that's like the nightmare answer that would have spun me out.
I'm putting a little spin on it. She didn't say it with judgment about you or anything.
Okay.
She was like, the tone of it was like, if I'm being honest, this, it's the first time I've seen it. But she also was like, it's okay. Like, we're prepared for any scenario. And like,
I can't believe it.
I know, but there's no doubt you were in excruciating pain from the first miso
That's
dose.
what I'm so shocked by. Like, why was it causing me this excruciating pain?
If I could just interrupt.
Yeah.
I have one of my best friends took an abortion pill, and I had to literally hold her while it was so painful. They're supposed to be really, really
first-hand account?
Yeah.
First-hand account.
Like she was like crying in pain.
Look, because I'm not somebody who ever gets period cramps ever. That's a very unfamiliar pain to me. So when I took the pill, I was doubled over. Like I was knocked out from the type of the pain I was experiencing.
Yeah.
It was like a cycle. You would take the fentanyl. You take the
miso.
miso, and then an hour and a half later, they'd give you the fentanyl to like counteract the pain, the peak of the pain of the miso.
Yeah, the peak. And then
that
it would
happened
drop
3 times.
Yeah. And I said to them, I was like, okay, so you guys are stopping me at 3 doses of fentanyl. So when I can't, then what? Right? Like, because I can't, this is only going to get more painful, more frequent. I need something else. And so I was like, does that mean it's time for the epidural?
How often are they doing checks for dilation?
I think the second or third time they checked you, she was like, oh, yeah, you're still closed. And then she looked at me with like a sort of conspiratorial, you were lying down like eyes closed. Oh, baby. Just trying to get through this exam.
Yeah.
And she looked at me and like with not a wink, but the equivalent of a wink, she was like, oh, let's say she's actually 0.5 centimeters. It's a little open. And she gave me a nod like, just go along with it. Mama needs to hear some good news right now. I was like, all right, there you go. 0.5. We're getting somewhere.
I bet you needed that slight.
I guess I did. Yeah. I love that the nurses knew to
and
baby
I misread that on the text, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I thought you were 5. I wasn't reading decimal points because I was just in like, my own version of like excitement excitement bubble. So when I read 5, I was like, oh my God, here we go, guys.
And then I had to be like, no, POINT FIVE. And it makes sense that you didn't take in 0.5 because 0.5 is probably not something that gets reported because it was a fucking lie. It was made up by a nurse. It was a fairy tale, I was told, so that I would calm the F down. Not that I wasn't calm, but I think they felt bad. It was pity.
Right.
It was like, this girl is struggling. Anyway, so.
And by the way, guys, I was getting a really like beautiful play-by-play.
Oh, good.
And
okay,
thank you so much for that.
Okay, good. I think there's a couple people that I was like, I want them to know everything, and I'm glad that.
I was very well informed as we headed into game time.
Okay.
Nurse Khalyla.
Of course, my head nurse. Yeah. By the way, every nurse I delivered at Huntington Hospital in Pasadena, every nurse was an all-star. Certain ones were more special than others, but like every nurse was a fucking my dream girl. They were amazing. I loved all of them so much. Okay.
Not to get grim, but they saved my life there. Like in high school, like I had OD'd because I tried to but shout out to Huntington, man. You guys are real rock stars.
Then it's basically this point where I'm out of my allotted fentanyl, maxed it out. What now? And they're like, it's way too soon for you to get the epidural. You're not dilated. And I'm like, well, what's the other option here? And so, Dave, will you explain kind of what ended up happening?
Well, basically, I don't think they could give you the epidural without consulting with your doctor. So we got your doctor on the phone, and over a series of 2 phone calls, she was like, I think this was actually decided before your 3rd dose of fentanyl.
Yeah, because I was like, I can't take this fentanyl if I don't know what's coming after it. Right. I was too scared.
So she was like, we'll do the fentanyl, and then when that wears off, you'll get an epidural. It is extremely early, but she was like, I don't know what else we luckily,
we basically ended the call with not knowing what to do, and then she called back and was like, actually, for your case, I think we need to do.
Thank goodness she believed the level of pain you were in and trusted you as a patient. And she understood that this was like, that's what the situation.
And she did warn me that like, if you get the epidural really early, it could cause a long labor. That's like a side effect or a complication. If you get it too soon, it could cause long labor. So I knew that. I didn't love hearing that, but I was like, the pain is so bad. There's no choice.
So it could basically like stunt the progress of like dilation?
I guess, yeah.
Okay. So they usually wait till you're right around like 5 centimeters, right?
But and this is like where I want to interject advice for people. Like, I was in a situation where I was in so much pain. The nurses are not used to that. They did not offer me the pain medicine, that fentanyl. Like, I had to know about it and bring it up.
Yeah.
So it's like, no one is going to come and tell you, it's time for you to get this pain intervention. Right. It's time for your epidural. Like, you want to be aware of what because that is the hardest part, is the suffering and the pain. And once you are on the epidural, which not everyone's going to do, that was a choice for me, pretty smooth sailing. That there's like this 90-minute period where I'm just raw dogging the pain of contractions. And it is bad. I am like freaking out, doing the breathing through the contractions. And again, I don't know who breathing through contractions, who that helps. It doesn't fucking help me. It did not help at all. And the nurse comes in, she's like, it could be another hour. I'm like,
oh my God.
What am I supposed to do? And she literally unwraps a birthing ball and is like, sit on this. I'm like, that's not going to help me. I'm like, what do other women do? She's like, they walk around. This kept coming up where other women just walk it off.
Do I look like a walker offer to you?
Again, in my mind, that's who I am. In my fantasy, in the practicality of it, in practice, that's not.
You couldn't walk, basically.
No, I couldn't even get up.
At this point, you were shaking.
Oh, yeah, I had started shaking.
Yeah, it was a little scary.
And by this point, we're early hours of the morning of Saturday. So again, like heaven dilated, still in pain, whatever. So finally, the epidural is ready for me, whatever. We move to like our birthing room. I got the epidural.
So you get transferred into a separate room after
Yeah,
that?
so there's 3 stages of hospital rooms. The first
For us.
it was the first one is like just where you go to start the induction. Then the next one is like when you're ready,
The delivery room.
and then after you deliver, you get 2 hours and they kick you out and you go to
postpartum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you say they kick you out, but they were very understanding and kind, and it's not like someone sitting there with a stopwatch.
Yeah, but it was I think that was just the hardest part of this
Sure.
because of what was going on and also the pain. Okay.
You also, you forgot the little part, excuse me, where you thought your water had broke during the middle of
Yes,
the night.
I did post this on TikTok. I thought
I saw that.
got up, spurt of liquid. I'm like, oh my God, my water broke. Dave, like my fucking water broke. It's
With
happening.
certainty.
This is happening fast. We're moving fast. I'm shaking. And then the nurse comes in and is like, your water did not break. Yeah.
No, it was gel from the previous exam
Oh.
that had, and I said that, and you were like, you didn't believe
There's
that.
no way it was gel. I don't know what it was.
I think
And that's
Dave's
okay.
right. I think it's the gel because at this point you have full control of your bladder still,
You
right?
think?
Yes,
Yes.
you haven't gone to epidural, have you?
No.
At this time? Yeah, you were it was definitely the gel.
Okay.
Why
Oh.
not trust the nurse who's seen this 100 times? Like, this is her job. This also happened a few times where you were like, actually, the nurses don't know what's going
Yeah, I
on.
know.
Like,
Those are
all.
Wait, so then after I got the epidural, they put the catheter in. It's like double whammy of a dream come true because now I don't. The hardest part up until that point was also having to get up to pee because you're still 9 months pregnant. It's really hard to get in and out of bed.
Right.
So now epidural, pain free, catheter, don't have to get up to pee. Highlight of my life.
Well, they kept saying, it's funny. I'm sorry I'm interrupting so much.
No, it's
and I'm
good.
not on camera. It's weird. But they kept saying, like, if you do get the epidural, the earlier you get it, the longer you're just going to be in bed. You can't move.
You think
won't
that's a
even be able to get up
downside
to
for this
pee.
one?
And
I
Esther's
was
like,
like-
what's the downside here? Like, it sounds amazing.
Yeah,
It's like,
and I
like,
was so happy instantly because it was the first relief I had felt in 9 months. No joke. Like I officially, the sour taste in my mouth is gone. Like
Really?
any kind
and
of
that's something that was like plaguing you from like beginning to
yes,
end.
but it's like think about it. Now my body has been on like any kind of drug for the first time, and so I'm so happy from that relief.
And can you not eat anymore at this point?
Once you get the
Once you get-
epidural, you can't eat, but they were giving me I was also I started throwing up. Like
you had a Jello and then threw up.
I
That's
threw
in
up a
my notes,
Jello.
yeah.
I would FaceTime my mom and sister at one point, and then that made me throw up.
Yes, you did tell me that. That made it on text.
Eventually, the next thing that happened was during an exam, another cervical exam, I guess it is, that your water broke.
Yeah. So during a cervical exam, I heard a pop, and she goes, "That's your water breaking."
Did they break your water? Or did it just happen to be broken right around that time?
That's what I don't know. And this is a complicated subject because I watched that show, Fleischman is in Trouble.
You so want to be the trauma recipient from Fleischman is in Trouble, which is so far from what happened. But go ahead.
No, I'm saying I had the opposite. That the show, it's
Right, okay.
it's an FX limited series and it's so good. And it's about a woman played by Claire Danes whose life completely unravels, and then you realize it all stems back from a doctor breaking her water without asking her permission.
Oh, whoa, okay.
And so that made me think this was like this scary thing. But in my experience, it was not this negative, scary thing because I was also on the epidural. I don't know what it felt like. This nurse did not go in there to break my water. It was almost like she just was doing a cervical check and my water broke.
Yeah.
And you had started dilating a tiny bit by
Yeah.
this point.
So I'm very confused by this. Like, I don't know. Did she try to do it?
I think
she
that if that was the intention, she would have absolutely announced
Absolutely,
it.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
I
because
think
there's
she
no.
did, yes.
I mean, you probably would have loved if she was like, "Okay, I think we're going to break your water." You would have
I
been like, "Yes,
would've.
anything to progress this pregnancy."
Exactly. So in fact, when her hand was in there, I heard the pop. She said, "Your water just broke." I was like, "Yeah!" Like I was so happy. But it's just so weird because in that show, it's like a horrible thing that can happen
Yeah.
to a woman. But for me, it was not that at all.
Well, what it meant for you practically was that you got to skip the balloon
Oh yeah.
stage.
Okay. So in an induction, A typical next step is a Foley balloon, which
those I hear can be gnarly.
which universally are hated online. Like every woman is like, don't do this. And I knew if I was going to do it, I wanted to be on the epidural before because it's supposed to be very painful. They insert this like plastic balloon, then they like pump it up, expand. It's how they make you dilate. This was something that like a lot of people were like, my mom especially was like, this is a nightmare, don't do it, whatever. So I was a little nervous about it, but again, knew if I was on the epidural, it would be okay. I was prepared. But they're like, my doctor's like, so your water broke, so you're not eligible for the balloon anymore. So I was like, okay, great. That decision is off the table, whatever. I do ultimately think that my water breaking early, then me not doing the balloon may have led to they had warned me, a lengthening of the labor, which may have caused complications later. I don't know. But Dave is back.
I'm back.
Baby
magically.
is
Baby is
sleeping.
sleeping.
Right there. We're looking at her.
We have eyes on her. We are not bad parents. This is normal for parents to be podcasting while a baby sleeps. Oh, the next thing that happened was, so they started you on Pitocin.
At this point, I'm on the epidural. My water broke. I'm just like, I'm feeling relief. There's not much going on for me.
How far apart are your contractions?
They were like every minute, every 2 minutes. No, Dave was shaking his head.
They weren't, but here's the thing. They were 4 minutes apart, roughly, at this point. But they last a minute, and so, at least.
Yeah.
So it's a minute of contraction, and then you're recovering, and then it comes again. It feels constant.
Mother's Day is right around the corner.
I know, and obviously it's a very special Mother's Day for me, but it will also have to be one for my mom too, and that's why I'm really excited about Aura frames, because now that I'm a mom, I understand this is the exact gift you would want. Aura frames are beautiful Wi-Fi connected digital picture frames that allow you to share and display unlimited photos.
And it's super easy to upload and share photos via the Aura app. And if you're giving an Aura as a gift, you can even personalize the frame with preloaded photos and memories. And I think that's really cute. Like, I think the idea I have in my head is I would gift my mom, who's not very tech savvy, but I would already like preload all of our pictures, like from when I was born and up until now. And I think that's, I don't know, just a very thoughtful gift. And I realized that we are in a very, we're attached to our phones, and sometimes looking at a photo on a phone doesn't elicit the same feeling as looking at a photo like around your house or a framed photo.
Okay, can I tell you the difference? Because we have one.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at your phone, you're like looking it up, right?
Right.
But when I'm just walking through a room and out of the corner of my eye, I catch, oh, that's that photo of me and Dave when I was pregnant over the holidays. Like, this is such a great thing to have in your house. It's not the thing you're going to think of getting for yourself. That's why I think it is a perfect Mother's Day gift. And I'm so excited that they're sponsoring us because I've had one for a while now.
We have one in the Tiger Belly studio. And, and again, when I'm looking at my phone at these pictures, you're like, okay, yeah, that was that episode. But when I see it, when it pops up, you're like, oh, that was that episode. And then you have almost like more memories like flood your mind about that particular time.
I know, it is so magical. Like, it really does spark joy for me to have this.
And Aura Frames was one of Oprah's favorite things. Did you know that?
It was also named the best digital photo frame by Wirecutter. And I go to Wirecutter whenever I'm buying an electronic device. I always go there. So the fact that this was on there, that's actually how I found out about it. And right now, Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. Listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com/trashtuesday to get $30 off plus free shipping on their best-selling frame. That's auraframes.com/trashtuesday. Use code TRASHTUESDAY at checkout to save. Terms and conditions apply. We love our Aura frames. Highly recommend checking them out, especially for Mom's Day.
Here are my notes. They started Pitocin at 4:30 p.m.
Okay, this is Saturday at this point.
Yeah, Saturday. At 5:15 p.m., Esther thinks she might be ready to give birth. So what happened was Esther says to me, "You don't know." Do you remember what you were feeling? It was like you felt that the baby was like super low, and you were like, the nurses, I don't know what they think is going on, but I'm ready to give birth right now. And so we were like, okay, let's ask a nurse if that's true or not. And they came in and checked you and said that you were only 1.5 centimeters dilated.
Is that really true?
Yeah. But
Oh my God.
things started moving very quickly after that.
Yeah.
By 6:30, you were up to 6.5 centimeters.
Oh, whoa.
And they were like, that was a huge jump.
Yeah.
I was like, I know. I felt
Yeah.
it.
Sorry, that's really the 1.5. I think that was the second to the last text you sent me.
Okay.
Was 1.5.
You were probably
And
like,
then-
oh God. This
And then you
poor
sent me
thing.
maybe one more, and then I was like, "Oh, it's game time," because like I didn't hear from you at all after that. So I knew it happened fast once the pitocin.
That really
on.
sped things up. 8:40 p.m. You were 8 centimeters dilated. Then this is when you started having like a fever and stuff. I don't know how into that you want to go.
No, I want to talk about that.
Okay, so good. So at 8, you started developing a small fever.
Mm-hmm.
You did. No. At 8:20 p.m. and they gave you Tylenol and antibiotics just in case you had an infection.
Yeah. And that's kind of when like it was not fun anymore because it started to be not fun anymore.
Oh, so I wasn't aware. I thought your fever came after, so it was actually before.
Yeah.
It had started before, and then it actually came down a little right before, just to jump ahead, right before you gave birth. But it had spiked enough that it had like
The
this.
tone like shifted in the way they were treating me once I had the fever.
And it for people who like aren't like familiar with what that might mean, like there are a lot of situations where like the mother could be like septic, and that can be serious and scary.
Yeah. So I didn't fully understand. I was just like, oh, I'm scared. I have a fever. I'm a little scared. I didn't know how serious it was.
Dave, were you scared or panicked?
I was scared. I wasn't panicked, I think I would say.
Okay.
There were a couple. So the things that happened back to back were Esther's fever, and then meconium presented itself before the baby was born.
Yeah.
So we knew that, meconium is basically like
The baby's
The
first
baby's
poop.
baby poop. So it's not supposed to come out until the baby is born. But if the baby gets stressed, I'm not an expert, but this is what we were told. If the baby gets stressed or for other various reasons, it might do it prematurely inside, and that can infect mom, or vice versa. If mom has an infection, that can stress out the baby. I don't know.
Right.
There's a lot of possibilities.
And also
here.
the baby could aspirate it and
Yeah.
Yes,
inhale it. So
exactly.
that's
Yes.
yeah.
At what point was it then that they said like, so just so you know, when
Yeah. At about 9:00, they told us the NICU will have to be present for the birth of baby. I think we should, I know you said this up top, but I think that I think it should be clear that the purpose of telling this story is that like so many people go through things that sound scary and are in the end basically routine, and that this isn't a woe is us story, because there's like far worse things that can happen and far
Right.
scarier things. But when you're in the moment and you hear words like sepsis in the delivery room, which luckily we didn't hear until after the baby was born, but we did hear, like you hear that and you go like, for the baby, for Esther, like can you do it's very
Right.
scary.
But the good news is like again, like why hospitals like are very like hospitals have a place for these types of things. It's like
yes.
you're right. Like in nursing school, say for instance, like what I learned is meconium is kind of common.
I didn't know that it was potentially a very serious issue when this was going on. So at that time I was still like, oh, our baby like pooped on itself. Like that's funny. Like it was just, I was kind of taking it like in a silly way. And then basically like we worked up, I think they had upped my Pitocin because of my fever, because they were like, it seemed like I needed to get the baby out sooner than later.
How
at
were
this
you
point.
feeling at this time, like with a fever, like knowing that like you had to push soon?
Pretty nervous, like, but also not that nervous yet. And then this is where I feel like it was almost like the beautiful part where it was really fun was when it did come time to push, which is crazy because that was the part I was the most scared of, and it ended up being the best part of it. I just felt I did not have pain. The nurse walked me through everything.
Yeah,
Do you just feel like intense pressure at that
Not
point?
even. I wouldn't even say intense pressure. I had upped my epidural, which people have varying opinions on this. Like, do you want the epidural to be higher so you don't feel anything, lower, a little lower so you're more aware and it's easier to feel what you're doing?
Yeah.
The nurse had encouraged me, like, you should just go a little higher for you, whatever. And so I could feel what I was doing. It didn't feel like I was doing much, but they were telling me like that I was pushing hard, whatever. But we had an amazing nurse. Shout out to Nurse Susie. She coached me. She coached me through everything, was so kind and so sweet, and also stayed really calm despite like the pending issues, whatever. And I was actually I feel like I was mean to you during pushing.
Only once. And I wouldn't even say mean. And I was like, I mean, not to sound like beta cuck, but I was fine with it. I kind of expected it. I had heard plenty of stories of women being like, shut up. Like,
oh, really?
or just like,
look, I can't imagine someone is, saying any sweet things when it's.
Well, it's like she was telling me what to do and Dave was like helping her tell me what to do. And I was like, this is between me and Nurse Susie right now.
Well, it was this.
You've never done this.
I was off to her right.
Okay.
Like,
and
so Esther just went like, she's like, okay, you're distracting me. I'm just going to listen to her. And I was like, great. Yes. Okay.
Because in my head, I'm like, he doesn't know what he's doing. Like she does.
I was just repeating whatever the nurse said. Anyway.
Wait, did you participate in the counting at least?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
And like holding her leg back.
Yeah, they made me hold my legs up, which I didn't love, especially because my legs did feel like I was just holding up wood because they were so heavy.
That's
and I
what
couldn't.
You kept saying. You were like.
That was a little uncomfortable.
You were, yeah.
Did they feel like they didn't belong to you?
Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah.
You were like, I feel like I'm holding up a stranger's leg.
Yeah, it was freaky.
That is so freaky.
But I was just so happy that I wasn't feeling any pain. And pushing for me went pretty quick. It was like 30 minutes.
Incredible.
Yeah, 45 minutes.
30 to 40 minutes, whatever. We'll just go with 30. We'll round it down.
Why do you want the whatever?
Dave, did you want to watch?
No.
No. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
No.
So basically, I'm pushing. And she goes, oh, your baby has a lot of hair. I'm like, I know. I've had acid reflux for 9 months, bitch. I know my baby has a lot of hair.
Maybe an old wives' tale, maybe not, but we'll believe it.
And I'm like, is it dark? Because I was a little bit like, this could be a redhead, which would be fine. But she's like, it's dark. I was like, yay, I'm so happy.
And she's like, but if they all look dark, you have to wash it off.
And then
It's still dark.
when the baby got like lower or whatever, they go, okay, Dad, do you want to take a look? And I'm like, no. I was like, no, we're going to see the baby together at the first time. For the first time, we're going to see it together.
Oh, wait, that's a really good point.
That was I thought it was
That's
a
good point. That's a good argument to be made for Dad not watching it happen, is to be like, no, we're doing a first look together.
Yeah,
And
there's
Dave
other
didn't
arguments to be made.
I think you didn't. You were happy with that decision, though.
I was totally fine with it. If it were up to me, I wouldn't look. I'm very squeamish. I don't like that. Basically blood. I mean, I'm just whatever. I don't like hospitals. I'm just admit it. I'm bad at this stuff. And
it was the right decision for both of us.
I saw a video in health class in 9th grade. Like, I've seen it. It's a miracle. God bless. I don't need to see her do it, I don't think. What are we shaking?
Yeah.
Honestly, I hope my partner says the same thing because I don't want them to see that.
Well, you should also be able to. I like if I wanted to see it and she was like, "You're not." I mean, who needs to see that? I don't know. I'm like,
I need to see it.
What is that? Is that just medical curiosity or like?
Yeah, I feel like it's like I mean, I cried into my best friend's giners, like directly into it. As her baby Quinn was coming out, when I saw the hair and I saw it, I could not, like, the emotions just came out of me and I was crying on the baby's head as it was coming out.
Look, all of that stuff, like seeing the baby for the first time, yes, I'm all of that. Like the emotions, you can't describe them, but the actual like crowning and everything.
It's not for us.
I totally get it. I totally get it. I think I do have like a more morbid medical curiosity for things.
Respect.
And I like nothing is grotesque to me
Yes, got
necessarily,
it.
except for phlegm. Phlegm, I'm not.
I'm just so
anti-phlegm.
sensitive in my own vagina that I wouldn't want to see. Like, if you were giving birth or something and you invited me, I would not want to look.
What if we do like a Clockwork Orange and I pin your eyes up
Khalyla,
and I make you and Dave sit through my delivery?
Khalyla,
Still a no?
No.
Any takers?
I mean,
Pushing, great. Again, cannot stress enough.
Question: Ring of Fire or no Ring of
No
Fire?
ring of fire.
Really?
No, it was. I had no pain throughout the pushing. Like, that was my biggest fear. I thought it was going to be so hard. I thought I wasn't going to know what to do. They talk you through it.
you said after the fact that you used dancer's intuition to help you.
I did every push. I was like picturing myself in the dance studio. I was like, I've worked, I've danced. I can do this.
I
like,
love this.
I have the pelvic floor strength to push this
Right.
baby out like that.
That's
like,
my athlete. That's my little athlete.
Yes.
And
I
you-
really closed my eyes and was in my high school dance studio.
And you continued to do Pilates and like strength training until as late as you possibly could.
Yeah.
During pregnancy, I imagine that didn't hurt either.
That's what I was, again, so for some people, they're like, that ended up helping me. Some people are like, that didn't factor in at all. I had a hard birth. But in my head, I was like, I worked for this. I can do this. Like, I'm a good candidate to like push this baby out.
They were like, sorry, the nurses, Esther was like pushing, whatever the rhythm is, you push for a while, stop, push. And then Esther was like, I feel like I'm not achieving anything, like the baby's not moving at all. And the nurses were like, you're pushing, the baby is moving.
What
Like,
an
and-
incredible feeling. Were
I
you like, oh my
know.
God,
like,
I'm doing
really?
so good?
I know. Like, everyone should work out on an epidural because you don't feel it at all. It's like, so you
How,
can.
Esther? How are you doing squats on an epidural?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay, so then the baby is born. And this is like where I might get a little emotional because they had to like immediately take her away. And so like this is like the part where I get sad because
But she's okay.
she's okay. That's why I said that at the beginning.
Yeah, I know.
But like, a lot of like the things that I had watched and like was really excited about. And it's so funny because I was like, I have no birth plan, but it's like in my head, I clearly I did. Like,
You envisioned
Yeah.
how the skin to skin immediately.
like just like your baby is born and they put it on you and like you're in what they call golden hour and like you get to look at your baby and like I just kept always like thinking like, oh my God, me and Dave are gonna cry, we're gonna lose it, it's gonna be this amazing moment. And like that is the one step that we didn't get. And I'm so happy because the only thing that mattered was that we left the hospital with our baby and we got that and we're so fucking lucky for that. But
I'm so sorry to do this. We do have to pause to do a Skims ad. I know the timing is weird, but
Skims.
no, it was hard.
Skims.
We got a weird abridged version
Yes,
of that.
okay,
which
so-
was go ahead. Yeah.
They placed the baby on me for literally 2 seconds. And
Yeah.
it was so overwhelming. And I knew that NICU had to look at her immediately. So
Right.
I almost didn't even really get, all I saw was like the pointy, just came out of your vagina cone head, the dark hair, a little bit of blood. That's all I saw. I didn't see her face.
And was she covered in all the white vernix?
I
Yeah,
didn't
but
even-
she wasn't. They had cleaned her off like 80% very quickly, and then put her right on.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Then
She made eye contact with
I
me
don't even.
as they put her on.
That's so. I am
I
really
was
happy.
very
Dave got to look at her right away. Got eye contact. I don't even feel like she touched my body. I feel like she was just like lightly placed over me, like literally snapshot. Like, and then they took her back to the
Yeah.
corner of the room. And in my head, I'm just like, Dave, go in the corner. Tell me what's going on. So I was laying in bed. I'm staring in the corner. Dave is watching over her and like kind of shouting back to me like what's going on and what they're doing. Meanwhile, I'm like very distracted by that. And then my eyes go down and I'm like, that's weird. Why is my doctor knitting a sweater in between my legs? Oh, she's sewing me up.
Wait. Did we not have a placenta moment?
We did, but it was.
She had just said like, okay, push the placenta. And it was like doing nothing.
Okay.
I just sort of saw like a formless shape in my periphery, and made a conscious effort not to focus
Right,
on
your
it.
knees would have buckled if
I think so.
yeah.
And then they just
Same.
kind of whisked it away. And because it was,
It had to go for testing.
and it was there was an
Right.
infection,
and we
so
was infected, so
what are
I
you gonna
didn't like do anything fun with my placenta, which I wasn't planning on anyway. But peace
Right.
and love if you are. But mine was infected, so
No placenta kebabs for the King family, guys.
yeah. So Dave is in the corner, standing over, watching the baby, kind of like dictating to me what's going on, and this is like the moment where I'm like pretty scared, but I'm also like hearing kind of good things and confusing things. Like, I don't know if you want to, at one point I remember you're like, she's getting a CPAP.
Oh, yeah.
Did you hear her cry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she was crying. She was breathing fine and making noise and moving around. And the issue is that she had, like, as you said earlier, aspirated some of her meconium. And so it's like in her lungs or whatever, and they're suctioning it out as best they can. And they're making progress, but they're still not thrilled with how much, I guess, is in there. Or she was grunting is the word they used. Okay, so
it's like a sign of like respiratory like distress, basically, is the grunt.
And I'm trying to remember. Yeah, they gave her a tiny little CPAP, which we thought was cute in the moment because I have a CPAP, as I'm sure you've mentioned many times to humiliate me on this podcast.
Dave, my partner, is also a CPAPy, so
What up? Team CPAP, PAP for life.
I'm pro CPAP.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah.
So, to make a long story not that short, the upshot of what happened was she was sort of like, she needed to go to the NICU. They decided in the end. And over the course of 2 days in the NICU, she worked everything out and was fine. And like, they just needed to test her for whatever, to make sure that she could breathe properly on her own, that all the meconium had cleared, that she didn't have serious infections, blood infections, that kind of
But
thing.
that was like where it got really scary because, of course, I hear the NICU team say the word septic, and then like they're like, we didn't get her where we need her to be right now. We're taking her to the NICU. And I was like, what? And then they're like, before we take her, because they had been working on her for like 20, 30 minutes.
Right.
And then they made the decision, we're taking her. And they're like, let's put her on mom first. And that's
like take pictures.
And that's when I was like,
wait, this is actually a good sign.
Yeah.
Because
But
they're
I
not rushing the baby to NICU.
exactly. But I'm in like panic mode. I'm like, I literally said to them, no, like if she needs to go to the NICU, please take her.
Yeah.
Like I literally was refused. I like, don't give her to me. And they're like, no, she needs to be on mom. Like it's fine. And they gave her to me. And I'm just like not enjoying this like 2-minute hold of my baby. I'm like,
every second
NICU.
counts in your head. It's
Yeah.
like,
it was just like, is she okay? Is she okay?
Yeah.
And
I
it's
look
like
at her, I
we're
didn't know
smiling for a picture that the nurse is taking, but it's like, should we be smiling? Is like, very odd.
I didn't know that like babies' eyes roll in the back of their head. So the first thing I see is her eyes rolling back. I'm like, her eyes are rolling back. They're like, it's fine. I'm like, okay. But it just was this like panicked moment. And then she's gone. And it's like, then like the whole after of the birth is just like us by ourselves in the room. My vagina is suddenly burning because it just got turned into a sweater. And like, I'm also worried because my infection goes back up and spikes again. And so I was just really concerned. Again, you hear the word septic. I, at that point, did not realize if you're in the hospital and they're pumping you with antibiotics, you're not going to die of sepsis.
Right.
But in my head, I didn't know that. And I'm really scared.
you had 2 antibiotic
yes,
drips.
they were
right?
giving me 2 antibiotics. I'm like, are me and the baby going to survive? I don't know. Like, that's just the panic that was going on for me. And I even asked the nurse, like, am I going to die of sepsis right now? And she was like, well, that's going a little far. She's like, you could also get in your car, get in a car accident, like, and die. So,
I mean, let's be honest. She laughed at you when you asked that question.
I was not in a position to go to the NICU. So I was like, Dave, please go. Like, so it like
they wouldn't let you go.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me go. So he went, he met her, visited her.
Couldn't hold her, but
Yeah.
What was it like for you to see her in the NICU?
I mean, it was 90% extreme joy and a little bit of, fear and like sadness or whatever.
Because
But
she's like got the IV, the CPAP in her
Right.
nose. Like
but
she's looking.
uncertainty is more so than like real terror, I think. We kind of like this kind of thing where we were trying to read the temperature of the nurses a lot, and they just didn't seem to be at like that heightened of an alarm pitch of like. And as soon as she was in NICU, it was like, she's breathing good. She's got color. Everything seems good. We're taking the blood. There's a chance this and that, but she looks healthy and good, so we just tried to like focus on that and that she seemed to be trending in the right direction. I don't know.
Yeah, once they kind of were able to tell us like things, she's getting better. And like then I think the joy sort of came back and we were excited. And then after 2 days, they released her and we got to spend a night with her in the hospital, and then we got to go home the next day. So we ended up being there like 4 nights or something
like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine it's like she's so small, right? And
she's so small. But then like the next day I got to go, and
And hold her.
but it was very hard, like, and I'm sure most moms deal with this. It's like you're in all this pain and you have a new baby, and even though people say that, like I wasn't prepared for how overwhelming that would be and how much my own pain would be in the way of enjoying that my baby is here. So it did take a couple days to like understand this is my baby and I get to take care of it. Like it just took a couple days.
It was also like weird when they took her away because it was like they're feeding her formula and it's like, oh, okay, that
I guess
decision.
she's on-
I guess
yeah.
she's on formula, and I guess it's that formula that they have in the NICU.
Right,
okay,
right.
Stuff like that. Is she doing okay? Should we?
Wait, what were you gonna say?
All the props in the world for doing Family Feud. I don't know how you did it with just 2 weeks out.
The strength of Steve Harvey and Flavor Flav is really what got me through. Also, here's one thing postpartum. You were definitely like, Esther, don't do anything. Don't leave the house. Like I see now that you're right. And it's almost like I started so excited and like on the high and was like, I can do anything.
Right.
And now that I'm 3 weeks out, I'm a little more like, okay, actually, like I need to slow down. Like, coming here today, I was like, oh God, this feels so early. But meanwhile, it's like the 2 days after I got home from the hospital, I was like, let's record the birth story.
I know.
And you were like, no.
Absolutely not. I'm all about Chinese confinement, 40-day period
Yeah.
of like, your body has to heal. And I'm sure like I can understand the high of it all. I can understand where it's like, well, no, I have to care for this baby. I have to get up. I have things to do. But like, like people, like I always see like when the baby's born, all eyes are on the baby and everyone is like worried about the baby. And I there is like a feeling of sadness I get where I'm like, no, like mom has just gone through like a full-blown like trauma.
Totally. And I have to say, I didn't feel neglected in that way at all. Like I felt very cared for by everyone at the hospital, by Dave, by not my parents. Because when my mom and dad came to visit, they were like, literally they came, when she was maybe 10 days, whatever. And my mom's like, why are you still in bed all day? I'm like, bitch, my vagina's on fire still. Like I was in so much vaginal pain. I would say for sure the first 2 weeks. Like I'm 3 weeks now and I'm a little able to live a little more freely.
Right.
But when we did Family Feud, I was like, oh, my vagina's on fire this whole time.
Right. Yeah, I did feel really bad for you, but you pulled it off.
Well, I bombed Family Feud. You guys would have been better off without me.
No, I don't think so. I think that, I was more concerned with we had to like walk fast towards like the stage and we had to be like energetic and get up there. And I'm like, you guys heard Shiners. It's it's under construction right now.
That was so fun though. And that was the takeaway from doing that so early after having the baby was like, oh, this is fun because I love these people. Like it was you, Bobby, Andrew, Jean Hong. And I was like, oh, I would not, if I was away from my baby this early and with people I didn't like, that would have been like a hell no. But it was really nice, and like it almost like filled my cup a little to be around you guys, which is cool.
And I was really happy to see you. And
it was also only like a 3 to 4 hour thing, so it was
right.
minimal.
That was nice. But I have so many questions about where, like, okay, so the technical part of being a mother is what scares me the most. Believe it or not, it's not like the physical, like the pushing, whatever, that necessarily like I'm scared of. It's car seats, strollers, gadgets, and all of the technical mothering that freaks me the fuck out. And I want to know like how you're dealing with that, or if Dave is doing, like, what's the split there?
I actually feel like that's such a solid take, because that is, baby gear is like a nightmare. That's like the only thing I will complain about is like baby gear. The car seat, Dave set it up. It does hurt my hand to close it. Like it is, that stuff is annoying for sure. But it's such a time. My headline of like how I feel now is that having a baby is like being on a drug.
I can't believe you're saying this.
It's like being on a new drug that you've never tried, and I'm so happy and so into it, and I love it. And
you guys, the text messages that I was getting after Ace was born, I was like, I don't know who I'm talking to.
I don't either. I did not see this coming. I had no idea what this would be like. I kept my expectations low because I knew that, and again, I'm only 3 weeks out, like anything can happen, and you know, whatever. But at least where I'm at now, this is like, I love this, and I hated pregnancy so much, and I'm willing to possibly do it again.
I've never met anyone who hated pregnancy more than Esther. This was something that it was a real, like, it was a real endeavor. It was a real painful journey for you from like the very beginning.
Absolutely, day one. Yeah, like, and I don't want to like speak like I know everything, because I literally have been a mom for 3 weeks, and that's such a tiny amount of time, but I'm like so into it. I love it so much.
So
when we FaceTime, you look so at ease. Mothering.
I was so scared. The second you have a baby, are you a different person? Are you suddenly like nothing else in life matters? Or I don't know. I just had all these big fears of the unknown. And now that I'm on the other side, I'm like, no, it's not that. You don't change. What I would say is like, I have not changed. My world has changed. And it's just added this like amazing thing. I don't know. I'm used to only complaining, and I don't
like this is
weird. I don't really know how to talk about something where it's not a complaint. Is it weird for you guys?
Honestly, it's a little bit shocking. I would have never expected this, because in my head I was ready for Esther to be like, "Oh my God, this is so hard. I'm gonna drop this baby off at your doorstep." You know, I'll see her in 6 months. But like, no, you're like, give me my baby. I don't want to be a second away from my baby. I am so happy. This is a drug. I never thought I'd hear you say this, but you're like, I would absolutely consider doing this again.
Yeah. And I don't want to be like, oh, you have to have a baby, because there's a lot of like people out there who don't want kids. And like, I think it's not like I got to the other side and I'm like, everyone has to do this. I don't feel that way. I'm more seeing like, oh, this was for me. And I think I only knew that subconsciously. And that's probably why I was always like to Dave, like, well, let's just try. Like, I think it was very subconscious for me. It was never in the forefront of my mind.
But you also gave yourself a lot of grace, I think. And I think that helps a lot. Like, you weren't set on a specific outcome. Like, you were just like, okay, let's see where it goes. Let's see how I feel.
Yeah.
And I think being open-minded like that, like, you also didn't resign to the idea of being like, now I have a newborn, now I'm going to be miserable. And like, I've never seen someone with such a glow up postpartum and this happy that it kind of is no, well, number one, it's shocking to me, but also it's like hopeful.
Yeah,
It's hopeful that
inspiring.
like you always, I mean, of course, motherhood is hard. Of course, it's a huge adjustment.
Yes, and the other like caveats, like Dave is not working at all right now. He is extremely helpful. Like this is not all falling
Right.
on my shoulders. If someone has now the respect I have for anyone who's ever been a mom, it's like you have done some hard shit. Like you have really like you're so much more qualified. If you've been a mom, you're so much more qualified for so many things.
I know
don't
it's early on, but like, are you looking at your mom and sister differently?
Yeah. Absolutely. Like, because my sister, the way she prioritizes her kids so much, I've always been like, what about your own life? But now I'm like, I can't believe how stupid I was. Of course she prioritizes her kids so much. Like, they're her babies. Like, oh my God. Like, I was not understanding of that before. And with my mom, I can definitely tell the way she is with Ace. It's like, she's such a baby mom. And so that's cute to see, and I also see why I like, because, when I was little, I grew up, like, I couldn't go to dance class without seeing my mom in the window.
Yeah.
And I always would think about that. That's so funny. My mom just standing there for an hour class once a week. But now I'm like, I get it. I get why she did that. Whereas before, I'm like, that was just weird that she did that. But now I'm like, yeah, if my baby wanted that.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cute. My best friend is about to pop in a couple of weeks, and so I'm on Baby Talk, and I am on just full on TikTok for.
Probably I've sent you to so much.
Right, it's part of my algorithm, and a lot of it is very frightening stories. A lot of it is there's like a negativity generally that you feel like, oh, like you have to be in solidarity with like how how tiring or sleep deprived and all that. So it's like, and I understand that. I understand that is a reality of it all. But like, it does feel so nice for me to hear you say that, like, hey, I like this. I really like this, especially coming from you.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. It does make me feel better. And there is a lot of content out there like talking about how hard motherhood is. And so I don't know. I think I do feel this is like just one of the areas of my life where I'm not going to be a complainer, and I'll
TBD.
Timestamp that. Remember when you said that?
Let's clip that.
Let's revisit this 6 months from now.
I'm 36. I've been working the last 10 years. I've been focused on this other thing. And I think that is helpful too.
We've talked about this, how you've given yourself a lot of time to really like grow in all the ways that you feel like you needed to, like career-wise, like personally, in your relationships. And so that makes sense.
Also, I do want to point out that I thought I wasn't going to hear from you about like the pot. Like, you're such a workhorse that you.
Oh dear God, that like, part was frightening.
4 days after, you were like, "So, what do we?"
The baby sleeps.
No, dude, I just mean that like
she's a machine.
You're a machine. I thought I wasn't going to hear from you for like weeks.
I'm telling you, Esther is a sleeper build. Anyone can argue with me about it. I know you say you complain. I know that, a lot of times you appear like you're like a fragile thing. Dude, you're a fucking athlete. And I've always said that. And in a day, on induction day, I was like, dude, you're an athlete. I know you are.
Yeah, you really pumped me up.
And I mean, as like Stella is saying, like you were all business all the time. Like whether you were in labor or postpartum, I was we're still talking about the podcast.
I know. It was, I'm turning it off a little more now, but it's like the change doesn't happen right away. So it's like, okay, I had the baby, but I'm still thinking about Trash Tuesday. Like, but then like as the weeks have gone by, I'm like a little bit less thinking about it. And so it is interesting. Like I was still.
Part of your brain was still there.
Yeah. Like it could not transition over.
Yeah. Well, there's
a
very specific reason for that. You were working the day before you went into labor.
Seriously.
So it's hard to erase that from your head when you were forced to.
But I do end up being grateful for that because it kept me busy. And, hey, people work all to the end of pregnancy, so we're just showing that reality.
Right.
So.
Right. What are some other questions we have, Stella?
Someone asked, did you get the shakes after giving birth?
The shakes. I feel like she had the shakes throughout labor, maybe.
I need to know about the pain and physical recovery part and how it compares to expectation.
Okay, yes, that's a good question. Where are you at now, 3 weeks out? Like, are you...
Okay, one thing I didn't mention, I refuse to look at my vagina. I have not looked at it. And at about 2 weeks out, I was feeling some particular burning.
I remember.
I texted you.
Yes.
You even offered to look for me.
Right. I was like, I don't care if you're not looking at it yourself. Just put the camera down there, send a pic.
I was too scared to even do that. So I set a doctor's appointment, because I was burning and stuff down there. She looked, everything was fine. That burning I was feeling was just the stitches, which you had suggested that may be what it was. Love having a nurse, my own personal nurse. But yeah, the recovery, I just took a lot of Tylenol, Motrin, and they gave me something a little stronger, and I was just every 4 to 6 hours, whatever. And if I skipped that, it was a problem.
Did you have to do the sitz bath?
No, I didn't do a sitz bath, but I did end up just putting a little bit of water in my bath at home and just sitting in warm water, and that helped a little bit. But yeah, I would say now that I'm 3 weeks out, it's much better. I'm not ready to go walk for 40 minutes or anything like that. But the first 2 weeks, I was like, oh, I'm still really feeling this. Is this normal? And everyone's like, yeah, it is. And you feel like it shouldn't be because you're like, really, it's still hard to get out of bed and it burns my vagina getting up and down. And I have to take care of a baby. I'm just like, how is that possible?
Also, I do remember that right after you gave birth, the 2 days, your whole body was sore.
Really sore. I didn't expect that either. It felt like I'd been in a car accident or done a really hard workout. Every muscle all over my body was sore. And I think that was just from all the sitting in bed, pushing, whatever it was that I didn't feel.
Right.
Because of the epidural, then later you feel it. And so that was something that's scary. I'm glad you're bringing that up. So if people feel that, it's totally normal. And the pain, I'm a big believer in pain medicine because I don't want to suffer. That's why I don't abuse it, because I want it to work when I need it. Very, very important. And then there was another question I forgot.
You pretty much answered all of the questions they have except for, is she goth yet?
Okay.
Who do you think she looks like?
I think she looks like both of us.
I think so,
and it makes me so happy. And I think she's the most beautiful baby that's ever been born.
She really is so, so, so cute. I see Dave up here.
Yeah.
And then you in the second half.
I know. It's so funny. And I love staring at her. It's all the cliches of motherhood, I think. But I'm just trying to think if there's anything else helpful to share with people who are going through this. Because I just want to all the TikToks I watched, all the friends that told me their stories, all the whatever I could find was so useful to me. That's why I wanted to do this, because I'm it's my turn to pay it forward and get all the attention. I did love feeling like the star in the birth room.
That part we knew. That was expected.
No, honestly, that was really informative just to know that all the different complications too that can happen, even with a normal birth.
And that was something Whitney had told me too going into it that was helpful. She was like, things will go wrong. They might not even tell you, and it'll end up okay. And that, that was just good to know. And that is basically what ended up happening.
Yeah. Remember what I said to you about, I just think in general, listen to the nurses and look to the nurses. Remember what I said about turbulence and how I used to be scared on planes and stuff?
Yeah, and look at the stewardesses and if they're calm, which it is their job to be calm no matter what, but it still helps.
But they've been through this. They know what's a little scary. They know what's very scary. They know it's serious, And
I didn't have a doula. I didn't take any classes. I think all that stuff is great. I also think TikTok is like a crazy resource for all this
Such a
information,
resource.
talking to your friends. You know, again, I knew I was going into an induction, which is like, people don't love those. So I just knew I wanted to know every step. That's kind of why I laid it out here. Yeah, I think you can do again, my approach was research it on my own. Didn't like want to hire a doula or, you know, go take classes that sounded kind of boring anyway. The nurse tells you how to push.
Yeah.
She walks you through it. She's like, she's looking at you, coaching you. And so again, this thing that I was so scared of.
And you take breaks.
Yeah.
From pushing.
It's not even like, even in my situation where they had to up the Pitocin, get the baby out because of the fever, it wasn't like, get her out. It was just like, here's a contraction, time to push, contraction over, rest.
Right.
It was very calm. And I'm so shocked that this thing that I was so scared of was completely fine.
Oh, what did your doctor say to you after?
She goes, and you wanted a C-section. She totally immediately started roasting me that I wanted a scheduled C-section. And I was like, okay. And again, I still love the thought of a C-section because it does remove a lot of anxiety from the process. However, I'm really grateful that I got the experience of having the labor the way that I, you know, giving birth the way I did. Because I do understand now that there is something magical about giving birth. I was like very against it before. I was like,
Right.
I don't want any part of that. And now I'm like, that was amazing. And I'm so grateful. So
I'm really excited for you both.
thank you.
I was super emotional the first time I saw a picture of her. I was like, oh my God, my friend cooked that. She made that. This is like, that's a real baby. And, you know, I'm in awe of you as a teen mom. I'm in awe of your teen mom experience. And I'm just so glad that everything worked out and that you're in a good place. You're in a good rhythm, it seems like, with motherhood.
Yeah. And also, like, thank you to our audience. I know that some of you guys love when I have been talking about my pregnancy, and some of you are bored by it. And thank you for your patience, whichever category you find yourself in. And today's episode was really just like, oh my God, let's just dive really deep into the birth story for people who want to hear it. And
I do want to say one more thing.
yeah.
Which is, I know this is, you know, Esther appreciation episode.
No.
But listen, I've said this to you like in private. I just want to say that like the way you showed up to bank as many episodes as you did and to go through the transition of this show, like a lot of you guys don't realize that, like, you know, it's not evident in our latest episodes, but the transition was tricky. There were a lot of things that happened behind the scenes that were very confusing for us. And in my head, I had imagined that there was no way my friend would be pregnant on set the day before, 2 days before she would have to give birth. Like, that wasn't the plan. I don't want that for anybody. I wouldn't want that for myself. And so, like, I just want to give you like credit for just like championing through like a very like not an easy transition for this show. And I really want you guys to like, I don't know, like give it up for her, just like the appreciation that I have for you for just showing up. And like, I know you say you're a complainer, but you didn't complain. You just showed up and we got it done. And that was difficult. It was difficult even for me.
Well, this is very nice of you to say. And I just want to say back to that, like, same to you. I know that you were also dealing with some stuff that, you know, made that a hard thing to do. And I also want to acknowledge, like, this is just, it's an hour or so podcast where we just get to talk and have fun. So it is always a pleasure as well. So while I receive your compliment, I also want to say, like, I'm trying not to deflect it, but like, this is easy. It's fun. It was a happy distraction, but you're right. It was fucking hard too. being that big. Also, it's like there were days where I'm like, do I really want to be immortalized on camera this fucking huge? I thought I would hide.
You wouldn't complain, but I could tell you were not comfortable.
You mean she was mouth breathing?
Oh yeah, the Rick episode where I'm like, hold on.
Yeah, there were a couple times, I'm not kidding, just for the audience knows, like I had to walk over and be like, are you okay? Like, because you were like, I was really worried.
I know, I was like, I'm fine, Stella. Get away from me.
Or even getting out of your car.
But like, let's keep it real. People work much harder jobs up until the end of pregnancy. But you're not wrong, and I appreciate that. All these things can be true, and yeah, there's been a lot of changes, and I'm really grateful to our audience because they've been really supportive of us.
Dude, you guys have stuck around and we're so happy about it.
And like, we're taking it seriously that you have stuck around, and we really want to give you guys awesome episodes, and we do have awesome episodes coming up that are much funnier and much probably sadder than this one. Mostly funnier.
But congrats again.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching. I'm so happy. You know, I know you say this is for a very specific audience because it's a birth story, but it's like, listen, if you're a guy listening to this, you don't even have a girlfriend, like listen to this episode and learn.
That's true.
Record, like just take notes. Take notes, please.
That's true. Yeah, there is benefit to knowing this stuff. It might turn a girl on that you're like, oh, I know what Pitocin is.
I know what an epidural does. I know it's like an IV and not a one-time thing. I know what the Ring of Fire is.
What is the Ring of Fire? Is that when the head comes?
Crowning? Yeah.
Thank God I didn't feel that, because the thing that they call it is really shitty. Ring of Fire.
Ring of Fire.
That's fucked up.
Apparently, you can also feel it even on epidural.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So
turn that epidural up, baby.
Also good for people to hear, like a very supportive partner. Sorry, just to give it up to Dave as well. Like,
yeah,
it's truly, I hope guys watching know that, they have a job too.
A big one.
Yeah, it's hot when a guy is involved.
Yeah, daddy vibes is my weakness.
It's really hot.
Good job, Dave.
Thank you.
We love you, Dave.
We love you. Thank you guys for watching.
Yes, thank you.
Congrats to our brand new mama. Give her all the love and support. And I'm sure we'll be hearing parts of the story you've forgotten.
Yeah, I know. I feel a little brain dead, but and we'll see you guys next week with a brand new episode. We have so much fun stuff coming. I'm really excited. There's a lot of twists and turns coming up. So please, we'll see you next week.
Bye.